Dear comrades and friends, I am here representing the People's Struggle Alliance as the Executive Committee member of the People's Struggle Alliance, and I am here to ask for your vote and ask you to vote for the People's Struggle Alliance in the upcoming parliamentary elections. During our election canvassing, some of the three main questions which are asked from us is what is the People's Struggle Alliance, because we are a new party, and why should the people vote for us, and why have we taken the slogan change the opposition. So I am under an obligation and a duty to answer these questions. The People's Struggle Alliance is an alliance of three left political parties: the Socialist People's Forum, the Frontline Socialist Party, and the New Democratic Marxist-Leninist Party, and an alliance with a group of activists who emerged in the forefront during the Aragala. So this is the alliance, and we came together just before the presidential election and formed the People's Struggle Alliance in order to contest the presidential and the parliamentary elections. And the reason we decided to contest these elections is because we felt in these election debates certain vital economic and political debates and issues were missing. So we came together and we put forward a People's Manifesto, what we call the Red Book. And in the People's Manifesto, we addressed three vital issues: the economic issue, the political issue, and the question of our foreign policy in this electoral manifesto. Now, what have we put forward as our economic solution to the economic crisis, which all the people in this country are going through? In terms of the economic solution, we put forward certain policies. We said we need to first and foremost exit the IMF agreement. This is not a radical proposal we put forward. We said exit the IMF because the IMF conditionalities, which includes privatization, deregulation, including deregulation of labor, and austerity, is costing the ordinary people of the country. Our electricity bills have gone up, cost of living continues to skyrocket, children are dropping out of schools because parents can't afford stationery, our transport costs is high, so people are no longer traveling properly, and people are no longer living in this country. They are running and running to earn a living because they cannot bear the cost of living. So we said, as long as we remain with the IMF agreement, we cannot come out of this economic crisis. We would move from one cycle of crisis to another cycle of crisis. In addition, we also spoke about the debt restructuring, which our government is being pushed into, which the previous government and the current government has been pushed into because of the IMF, because the IMF claimed to be the mediator for debt restructuring. If we look at the local debt restructuring, now we all know there is a difference between local debt restructuring and foreign debt restructuring, but the IMF decided to merge the two and said we need to restructure our domestic debt if we want to get concessions in our foreign debt restructuring. When we look at our local debt restructuring, the only fund which has been subjected to debt restructuring is the EPF funds, which is the fund which is the only saving of thousands of working people in this country, including plantation workers and garment workers. So the EPF fund has been subjected to debt restructuring by the previous government, and the current government also is going ahead with that plan. And as a result, the EPF fund has nearly lost 50% of the revenue which is owed to the people, working people of this country. When we look at the external debt restructuring, we told the government, do not go into negotiation on our own because we are not strong enough. We cannot negotiate on our own. So therefore, we have to go with the other countries who are in similar situation to Sri Lanka. But the previous government went into a debt restructuring agreement, and as a result, what is going to happen is taxation, and the taxation burden on the ordinary people is going to increase, because that is essentially the package which the previous government has entered into. That is essentially the trap which the previous government has left for the current government to continue, and unfortunately, since the current government came to power, they too have continued with the same debt restructuring, external debt restructuring package. The implication of that we will see in 2028. So, as with regards to the PSA, we have been saying exit IMF conditionalities, and we need to look at a debt restructuring agreement which would benefit the ordinary people of the country, and which would not result in the elites of this country saving themselves from the debt burden, from the economic crisis which they have caused to the country, to our country. So, that is in terms of the economic solution which we have proposed. In terms of the national question, now people ask, why should we speak about the national question? The war is over, why should we speak about it? Racism still remains a divisive element in our politics. We all know how the war ended in May 2009, with thousands of people being killed by the Sri Lankan government, and to date people are searching, families of disappeared are searching for answers, people are still waiting for justice and accountabilities for the war crimes which have been committed. Now, as People's Struggle Alliance, we have said a future of equality between ethnicities, between religions can only be built on justice and accountability for past injustices and past atrocities which has been committed against the Tamil Muslims and the Malaya community. So, our solution to the national question also includes justice and accountability, but also we have also proposed a political solution. We have said that there has to be self-governing territories, where territories in this country are given powers with regards to land, with regards to development, where people in regions can have the power to decide for their own future and for their own development, and not having a central government dictating terms for people in the regions. So, we have proposed self-governing territories, and we have proposed a system where there are two chambers in the middle, and the purpose of the second chamber is to act as a check on the central parliamentary body, so that in the future, moving forward, after the self-governing package comes in through a new constitution, after that we will not have majoritarian policies being passed against the interest of other nationalities and so on. So, this is the solution, political solution we have proposed in terms of the national question, and this is only a proposal. We will put forward it to the people of Sri Lanka for them to discuss and debate this, and then we would propose this as a constitutional solution, a permanent solution to the national question of this country. Thirdly, we have looked into the foreign policy. Now, right throughout the presidential election debates, we warn the people that the intrusion of the United States and India is worrying into our country. The United States is currently funding a genocide in Palestine. So, we should have our own politics when it comes to dealing with countries like the United States. Of course, they are big countries, of course they can dictate terms to us, but we also have a moral responsibility to people in Palestine who are right now going through a genocide which is funded by the United States. So, when a country like that comes and intrudes into the politics of Sri Lanka, interferes into our political and economic questions, then our politics also becomes muddied by what the United States is doing in countries like Palestine. So, that is on the side of the United States. On the side of India, when we look at its foreign policy, India has been a friendly neighbor, but it has also been a bully. For instance, if you take the northern seas, to date the northern fishers are struggling with the intrusion, with the forceful intrusion of Indian trawlers which are coming in forcefully and depleting our marine resources in the northern parts of Sri Lanka. Similarly, we also know of the Adani project which came in, where the previous government rushed into an agreement with the Adani company, which is one of the most corrupt companies, multinational companies in the world, and as a result, Mannar fishermen, Mannar farmers, Mannar people were going to be dispossessed of their lands without the government actually even speaking to people about this kind of projects coming into our country. So, we spoke about India, we spoke about the United States, we said we need to have a non-aligned foreign policy, we said we need to form alliances with other third world countries, because when we go into debt negotiations as well, we need the support of other countries which are in similar situations, and we need to put a check on the Indian intrusion and the United States intrusion into our country. The current government, as soon as it came into power, as we saw, the Indian security advisor came and spoke to the government. The United States and the Indian ambassadors are having close talks with the current government, and then we saw the recent security issue which came about in Arugambe, under which the current government has restarted using the PTA and arresting people and claiming that there is a security issue in this country. So, the people in this country do not know what the security issue is, but the government, under the advice of various other countries, under travel warnings of various other countries, have started arresting people using the Draconian Prevention of Terrorism Act, which it promised that it would repeal during the during the presidential election campaign. So, as we can see, even when a new government comes to power, they would say something during elections and they would do something else when they are in power. And that is why I come to our last point. We are saying change the opposition. That is our political slogan. We are saying change the opposition because historically we have seen that the problem has not only been about the government, but the problem has also been about the opposition, which has been unable to hold the government to check when the government was committing abusive acts against the people, against the ordinary people, abusing its powers against the people of Sri Lanka. So, we want to be a responsible opposition. We want to be an opposition which holds the government to account, and most importantly, we want to be an opposition which represents the voices, the struggles of the people which are happening outside Parliament, and bring those voices and represent and build power for those struggles and those voices which are taking place outside Parliament. And we want to be that representatives who are building that power inside Parliament. So, that is why we are asking you, vote for us, vote for the People's Struggle Alliance. We have put candidates in all electoral districts. So, choose to vote for our candidates. These are new faces in order to change our politics, in order to challenge our politics, in order to build a Parliament which will represent the concerns, the demands and the voices of the ordinary people of this country. And through that, we hope to build a Sri Lanka which is not racist, which is anti-racist, which is feminist, which is pro-LGBTQI community, which respects and treats all races and all ethnicities and all religions equally, and a Sri Lanka which is safe and secure for all people to live and have a decent life and dream of a future. So, that is all I have to say to you now. Thank you so much for listening to me for this long, and we hope that in the upcoming parliamentary elections, you will vote for the People's Struggle Alliance and send our representatives to Parliament to continue to do the work which we have been doing outside Parliament, to continue to represent those voices, represent those struggles and the people in the future, in the upcoming next Parliament. Thank you so much.